Hello. Welcome to another Wednesday Wisdom. And I want to say thank you for joining me today. I want to talk to you almost like a continuation of what we talked in the previous few weeks about accounting software. And before I jump in, today we could talk about, what accounting software should you use? How do you pick? How do you know which one will be working for you or not? I want to kind of make a stop and have a conversation with you that I think it's very, very important. If you are in business and you have any business that does not necessarily involve, bookkeeping and accounting in itself, like meaning that you're not a bookkeeper, you're not an accountant, you should not do your own bookkeeping. And many of you would completely disagree with me on this, but just hear me out. Many times when we're trying to do the things that are easy at hand, that just require our information, it would be easier for us to do it versus having someone else come in and take it over. And I'll give you an example. Yeah, I am an accountant, right? I am, a tax strategist and all of that. Can I take care of all my systems? Can I take care of all my IT? Yes, I could. Would I be able to figure, most of it out? Mostly I could. But if I don't go and outsource that piece to someone else, it's never going to be done well enough to be able to help me grow and scale to the next level. So what I'm trying to say is this. If you are in business and you already have, enough, income and profit, let's say you cross the first $100,000, you cross the first $200,000. Now you have employees. Now you have, you hire your first employee outside of yourself, and you crossed $150,000 in revenue, you are looking to get in a bookkeeper at that point. And the reason why is because you want to have some tracking in place that allows you to have the financial picture of where you are. It's really it. So now, I always, it's in the beginning phase of a business, it's always really difficult. People come to me and say, well, I want you guys to do my bookkeeping. I say, you can't afford to hire a bookkeeper because you don't make enough money. If you're making $50,000 revenue in your business, if you're making less than $100,000, you can't afford a bookkeeper unless you're building a product, unless you're having investors come in, unless you're in a different position where you need to have tracking, or there's a specific model that you need, billing, and you need some other things involved that you cannot do. Other than that, you can't afford to hire someone to do your books. Now, let's say we resolve that issue. You've got the income, you've hired the first employee and all of that. And we talked about last week, before you hire someone to do your books, you have to really categorize and see, what do you need, right? Because going through the questions of what do I really need, it's going to help you choose what software do you need. Okay. Now, mind you, most of the accountants at the CPA firms that I know, including us, use only a handful of software. So we can't work with every kind of software for accounting. We only use two. I know many firms only use one. So I'm going to go and talk to you about the ones that we use first, and I'm going to mention a few other ones that are very common in the industry, and depending on what you do and what your needs are. So number one, it's always going to be, like, as far as right now, it's going to be an Intuit product, which is QuickBooks. Now, in QuickBooks, we can talk a long time about QuickBooks and why is it good? People love it, people hate it. Listen, we don't always like entirely the products that we use. They have to be able to do the job that we get them for. So what does that mean? That means that, yes, the customer service might suck. They might not be a great help. You might not be able to fix the issues that are coming in. It still does the job. Overall, it's still one of the best softwares in the United States right now for a small business to go and do the business. Now, it's a hate and love relationship people have with QuickBooks. So if you hate it, don't just throw the towel and say forget this, I'm not using anything. Use something else that would make sense for you. Now, one of the things we like QuickBooks for are the integration with a lot of different applications. Okay. Now, for my opinion, and again, strictly my opinion, QuickBooks is made for accountants. I don't think it was designed for a consumer or a business owner to use it. It's not, they keep trying to add patches, they keep trying to change the language, to change how it looks, the interface, the dashboard, to be more consumer oriented, that you can actually see and enjoy and understand what it's asking you to do, but it's really meant for accountants. The way I look at it is very accountant language based, okay? So if you see that you don't understand what's going on, I don't want you to quit just because you don't understand. Make sure that you find someone who can translate what you need and what you need to see in your QuickBooks file, so you don't get overwhelmed by the things you don't understand. You don't know how the software works and how it delivers the information to you. Okay, so that's my number one. So the integration with software, the ability to run a lot of customized reports. You can do projects, you can do, again, depending on the subscription that you have with them, you can do different things. You can do project accounting, not so much cost accounting, but you can do project accounting in it. Inventory, not so good for it unless you have an application that integrates with it. And we can go deeper on, what QuickBooks is, what kind of version will be good for you, how to use it, how to deploy it, all that good stuff. We can go into another video and talk about QuickBooks. Right now, we're just going to look at why would we pick QuickBooks. We pick QuickBooks because integrates with applications, because you can integrate the payroll directly. It's like a product. If you use the online version, it integrates directly with your payroll. That means once it's done correctly and the setup is done right, it goes and posts all of those transactions for you, so you don't have to guess how your payroll is. And another feature that I absolutely love about it is that when you have time tracking and you have people checking in and out throughout the day, and you use their own time tracking, which is called now QuickBooks Time, with payroll and with QuickBooks, it gives us exactly for each project how much time each one of your employees, each one of the team members spent per department, per everything that you want. So it's a great tool that you don't really have to do anything. You just got to use the specific product within QuickBooks to give you all of that information. So I hope this is enticing to you if you're needing any type of project accounting, if you have customers that are repeating customers, you need to track how you're delivering the work and all of that to really using QuickBooks. Now, inventory and e-commerce is not yet the greatest product unless you integrate specific applications with it, okay, which is totally doable. But that's one of the main reasons why I like QuickBooks, for that reason. So our second software that we absolutely, promote and we, recommend to our business owners would be Xero. Now, Xero has gone a long way since I first reviewed it. Now, in Xero, one of the things that I like, again, would be the possibility to integrate multiple types of applications that you might track inventory, you might track, any type of e-commerce. There's a lot of things that integrates with it. And it's really not so much designed with an accountant in mind, it's designed with a consumer in mind. Okay, so even their logo, that it's beautiful business, beautiful dashboard, everything is meant for you as a business owner to see. Okay, so it's only a matter of what do you prefer. Like, they both can do the job. My personal opinion is that QuickBooks can do much more than Xero can right now, with all the customizable reports and all the things that we have available. I think it's a little bit more accountant friendly, and for us to be able to design what your experience of the reports that you get to see, versus I feel like Xero is more reports oriented, but like you have to design them. It's very user specific. Okay, so that gives us, a little bit more flexibility on reporting, but doesn't have as much flexibility in how to pull the data and what kind of reports and how all of that. So that, again, that's just my own opinion on how it works. Some things are much, much easier in Xero than they are in QuickBooks for various reasons. So each one of them have their, sort of benefits. They have downsides. It all depends. What do you prefer? What do you feel like it's going to deliver what you need? Both of them can do mostly the same thing. In Xero, for example, the integration will not post as much details for when it comes to payroll as it is in QuickBooks. Now, one of our payroll preferred vendor that we use is Gusto, which Gusto is the one that integrates with both of them, right? So if you don't use the Intuit payroll, most likely you will be using Gusto. Now, with both of them, you can still get the information in, but one of the things that you need to remember is that you cannot forgo a really clear and robust setup. That means how everything gets to be mapped, because one simple error like a mapping of an account, it could be putting an expense versus a liability, and I don't want to bore you with that, but what that does is like either inflates your your expenses or your liabilities, and your P&L is not going to be right. You overpay in taxes. One of the key elements that I want you to take away from today's video is this. I want you to know if your books are not right, if your books are not in order, you are overpaying in taxes. It's just a matter of time, because you don't know how things should come. You don't know exactly how everything flows, and it's not clear what should be an expense, what should be making it to the balance sheet as a liability. So having a software that's well designed, that works for you and your business is really, really critical. And number two, if you do your own books, you most likely overpay in taxes. And you might not like what I said. You might completely disagree with me. That's my own opinion. Now, again, some of you that have, a partner that works in the business, that has an accounting background, that has been trained and all of that, I have seen amazingly clean books run by two partners, but it's an exception. It's not the rule. Many times when the owners are doing the accounting, it is a complete, not a complete mess, but you're missing things out. You're missing things out that could save you money on taxes. So if you want to do yourself a favor, number one, make sure you pick the software that works for you and the reports that you can actually understand and read. And number two, make sure you don't do your books. Make sure you have someone else do your books, that you can actually get something that you can translate and kind of put the story behind the financials that you're getting. Okay, so we're going to stop at that. These are the only software that we support in the sense that we do accounting in. Now, that doesn't mean that they are only pieces of accounting or accounting software that exist right now. Some of the common ones that people use would be Freshbooks. Again, it has integration with different software. It has like bank feeds. It has some other things in place. It's not as robust. It's just more like an elevated Excel sheet. It doesn't give you categorization so easily. But if it's available, yes, it is available. So instead of doing nothing, you could use Freshbooks. The other one that a lot of people use is Wave. Again, like Freshbooks, Wave is very, very similar. So just make sure that when you go in any of the software that let's say you're in the beginning phase, you can't afford to get an accounting team to work on your books, make sure that your banks and your credit cards are synced with the application of your choice. This is the number one most important thing. Everything has to be synced, that every transaction comes and shows in your feed, okay? So we had Freshbook, we had Wave, we have Zoho Books. Again, Zoho Books, and I'll mention Zoho Books again with Sage, Sage Cloud. Those two are more, that you're gonna have a little bit more possibility on inventory. It has a little bit more capability than Freshbooks and Wave. So if you're gonna rank them depending on what kind of industry you're in, so if you need inventory items, if you need a little bit more robust on the e-commerce side, Zoho Books and Sage might be a better suited app for you than Wave or Freshbooks. Wave and Freshbooks are very, very simplistic, that it just, you put stuff in, it just, gives it out to you. You don't track any type of sub-clients, multiple locations. You can't do a lot of the things that a robust business would have. And Zoho Books and Sage can give you a little bit more flexibility and just options on how to record things and how to get the reporting, in the software. So I hope this is helpful to you. And again, what I want you to remember for today is this. Make sure you have a robust setup for your accounting, whatever accounting software you choose, and don't do your own bookkeeping, okay? If you need help assessing what do you need, who do you need, reach out to us. We're more than happy to assist you with that. But here's the one of the biggest pieces. I don't want you to overpay in taxes because your books are not in order. So I just want to make sure you're doing yourself a favor by really laying down the foundation for you to grow and have a healthy business with, clear, bottom line numbers, clear revenue, clear debt, clear assets on the list so you can actually be a true business that has a chance to survive. I wish you guys all the best, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.